I'm introducing now the two US Navy sailors, Quartermaster Maurice Ennis and Jaime Plym, who both experienced this radiation exposure.
We found out that the tsunami earthquake happened. Immediately we knew that we were going to reroute the ship to Japan to provide aid and give them food, water. We probably got to the coast of Japan by the day after it happened. We never heard anything about a nuclear power plant. We never knew anything about the possibility, let alone any kind of leak. We didn't really hear anything for probably a couple weeks after about a leak in the power plants. The ship didn't really go on lockdown, which I mean by that, like no one was allowed outside probably until about a month and a half after March 11th. So we were outside breathing this in, handling stuff, handling materials, and just absorbing the radiation. We didn't finish that deployment until October 2011. About halfway through, probably around the summertime, my menstrual cycle just disappeared completely. And then it would come back and disappear and go on and on. But this happened until about the summer of 2012, where it came back in such full force that I was in and out of the emergency room. Once they thought they were going to have to do a blood transfusion because I lost so much. I was still in the Navy for this past year. I got out this past January 2013, so I was still getting Navy care for that year. The thing they could do is say, this is called dysfunctional uterine bleeding, and we can give you an IUD with hormones in it. And so now that's what I have. It hasn't really stopped it. I still have this issue, and now I have to pay for the medical costs of that. In addition to that, in February 2012, I developed bronchitis, and then from February to the summer of 2012, I got it 6 times. I was sent to a respiratory doctor, and it was determined that I developed asthma. So a lot of people don't understand that once you get out of the Navy, you don't get any health care at all. If you retire and you stay in 20 years, you get health care. We don't get that unless it's a service-related disability, which dysfunctional uterine bleeding does not really count as a disability as of yet. So we're still fighting that case, and this is also what we're involved in a lawsuit against TEPCO for medical expenses that we're going to have to pay out of pocket for.
I was told by one of my higher ups to go out and retrieve the American flag so we can give it to the Japanese as a friendship type of thing. Pulled the flag down, just wrapped around me and got all over, folded it up, took it down, and I get my boots checked, pants, and then my hands, and as soon as it gets to my hands, the machine just goes crazy. And instantly, like, we went from like smiling to just being nervous and scared. They instantly told everybody to back away from me. They made a perimeter around me. And we make it to the decon station. And I go in, and they had to remove 3 layers of skin off my hands and arms. And nobody told me at the time what was going on there. I told me just to stand and be quiet and not to touch anybody or anything. It was almost like I had to play. Finally, the machine stopped beeping again. They let me go back to my berth. And they told me I had received the highest amount of radiation out of anybody on the ship.
You've got a few symptoms.
Like 2 months after the lump appeared on my jaw, they told me that there was nothing they could do about it, or I could see another lump appeared between my eyes. I had another lump on my right eye. As soon as I got out of the military, I went back to college and I started playing college sports again. And I actually ran within like 2 seconds of the Olympic time for my track and field team. And slowly after that, my body just started to fall apart. It's hard for me to breathe now. I lost a lot of weight from the time I was in the Navy to now. I got stomach ulcers. In the last month and a half, my It doesn't look like it, but my hair's starting to fall out. It's like Navy tradition when you get out, you grow out your hair and you grow out your beard because you're bald for so long. Like, it's just falling out, man. I don't want to speed that up. Like a little bit after we found out that the ship was radiated and we had to finish up helping out, we left the area. And before we pulled into our first port since the disaster, we all had to sign paperwork saying that the military is not to be held liable for anything that happened, and we had to sign paperwork saying that we weren't sick or we were okay if you did test on us. And it wasn't like a yes or no type of option, it was just like you have to sign it.
Were you offered potassium iodide to protect the firefights? What were you told about that?
We personally, we never knew that we were supposed to take iodine for radiation, and later found out that the higher ups, like the CO, the XO, anybody with a really important job, they got iodine tablets. The pilots got iodine tablets, but the general enlisted sailors, they didn't get iodine tablets until we didn't receive that as radiation. And the amount of radiation we got was the equivalent of standing next to somebody smoking a cigarette or sun tanning on the beach for a whole day. So I had it in my head not to worry about it. And actually, between Jaime crying at night saying you gotta get checked, after more lumps started appearing and everything else, we started trying to get my medical records while Jaime was still in the Navy Station in Washington. And they actually lost all the medical stuff that I was involved with from that time. All they had was my records from boot camp. When it first happened, they took me down there to the decon station. They were all talking and whispering and talking to each other. I was trying to listen in and I could never hear how much I actually received.
In fact, the Navy and the US government absolutely knew what they were being exposed to purposefully, yet they can't sue the US government, so they're suing TEPCO for lying to them. But in fact, it's the US government who's lying, and Jeff and I think Andy would be prepared to go to court to support these people who are suing TEPCO.
We were in the area of the coast of Japan for about 2 months, and in that time we went from anywhere from 1 mile off the coast to 10 miles. So we just kind of went back and forth and did circles up, down, east, west. We kept moving, but we would get 1 to 2 miles from the coast very quickly.
We were actually briefed not to tell the rest of the crew, since we did get a lot of information before everybody else, because we had to know where we were going to feel safe and what was the best route to take. From the time you join until you get out, you lose all your rights. When you actually join to go to boot camp, you have to sign paperwork saying that you're now property of the United States government, so you can't sue them or anything. And that was just another reinsurance.
In any kind of situation like that, they cut off the cable, internet, phones, so that you can't really get rumors, you can't get bad information, you can't share information, just as a protective measure. So we didn't know that this had happened, and when they did, probably about a month, maybe or a month and a half later, tell us, hey, we need to draw this radiation plume to stay out of, but don't tell everybody else it caused an uproar of 5,000 people.
We never knew the plants actually blew up. We were told it was a small leak. When this was going on, there was people trying to commit suicide, there was people trying to get off the ship. It was like you're living in fear